If there's one scene I remember that had me and my friends just hyped in the cinema, it was this one. And the Nanami one. Well, that time it was kind of more so me. Anyways, Gojo vs Miguel was insane. So let's talk about it, who made it, and why it simply looked very, very nice. So starting off, the mastermind, the brain behind it all is Korean animator Sung-Hoo Park. He's sort of an important name when it comes to the JJK anime because he, was a series director and also directed and storyboarded this film and somehow found time to contribute animation like a lot. But outside JJK, he's been in the industry since 2005 and ever since then just continued to draw more and more eyes to his work, with his skill in action being the particular draw, and eventually would get the greatest stage of all to showcase his expertise in this area, being requested to direct God of High School. And despite being in that position, he was still very much hands-on, storyboarding the majority of the show and doing a fair bit of key animation amongst all that. And before we knew it, he was then being asked by Mappa to direct the new Jujutsu Kaisen anime. This man really didn't get a moment to rest. Park was still actually working on God of High School as Jujutsu Kaisen's production was beginning, so I guess credit to Yui Yumamoto, the assistant director, for giving him a chance to sleep once in a while. And if you know much about the industry, you'll also know that last comment was not hyperbole. Anyways, it was a given that Park would direct the movie and a given that he would somehow manage to find time to do key animation amongst it all. But with his backstory out of the way, breakdown time. So first cut, you have one of the fundamental components of any Park scene, and that is snappy zooms. It brings a dynamic and stylish flair to the motion, but being a Canada school animator, those two features are definitely to be expected. Now, skipping a couple of cuts ahead, what's noteworthy is the synchronization between animation and storyboard. In this cut, the framing actually obscures Miguel's position. The audience still has a rough idea of where he is from the cut before, but it gives a bit of a surprise factor to the following hits, and that's also in part to there being no particular long build-up into Gojo's strikes. It's just these two quick split-second cuts. The composition is also tight. Park wants to emphasize just the hits. Then bit of a reverse for the next cut. He switches out to a long shot and this time adds anticipation behind Gojo. Then the release looks really great. That extreme contrast in shot selection also is what gives that wow element for me. Like if he had framed it all at the same distance, like these were all long shots or something a bit further out or slightly in, it would be pretty boring in comparison. Just wouldn't have that cool factor. Now, Miguel's weapon of choice, the whip, really gives Park the chance to flex some of his dynamic camera work. Actually reminds me also a bit of his work from Garo. Anyways, Gojo effortlessly grabs him and sends him flying. And yeah, the throw is animated with a lot of force, but it's when taking a step back you can really see what drives the energy of this section, and it's this principle of uninterrupted movement. Notice when Miguel hits the ground, he doesn't, smash right into it with a crater around him, and then like when the smoke clears, he's like, oh wow, that was powerful. Instead, as soon as he makes contact, he bounces across, then he's back on his feet. It's all about keeping that momentum going, and that Park does as Gojo just delivers this insane barrage into the dude. Now, number one, posing. Something I remember hearing Takuji Miyamoto tell students in the Discord for their practice assignments, that is before I was yeeted off, was instead of drawing standing poses, draw people that are moving. It was about creating lively drawings, thinking more like an animator than an illustrator. I mean, the whole medium is about moving pictures. And if you take Park's key drawings and also some from the previous cuts, you completely get that. There's a strong sense of movement and energy in just his drawings alone. However, what gives power to the hits is, well, several more things, but one I noticed is Miguel's movements. Look how after the first hit he actually drifts back to the left, then second hit, back again for a frame, then third hit falls to the left again. He's continuously moving in the opposite motion to Gojo's strikes, and by doing that you're having two opposing forces just like slamming together. It's very nice, and I guess if I ever direct a Jujutsu Kaisen film, I'll keep that one in mind. The next part though is what people remember best, and for good reason. 3 cuts, overall time 5 seconds. The movement is dense, there's no looping, it's just this barrage of fluid and weighty motion. Now of course, Park and Smears isn't a new combo as you've probably picked out, but their use here is rather heavy and certainly plays a part into loosening Gojo's actions up. There's also this element of variety which helps leave an impression. Gojo's not just repeatedly punching Miguel in one area. I mean, he's not even just punching, like there's a backhand and and a chop it seems, Park just mixes it up, with motion that isn't linear either. He even animates in a top-down perspective, and that is not an easy angle, but certainly points to his experience by the fact that he felt comfortable enough to add it in, and of course, executes it well. Then the final cut of this section, Miguel is knocked back, and out of nowhere, Gojo just obliterates some air conditioning units. This whole time, Park has done an excellent job at representing Gojo as this unstoppable force, and this cut is just another example. If you slow it down, you can notice Park, to display how fast his character is moving, he excludes any animation of Gojo like leaping in and rather just has him appear sort of halfway. Like before, Gojo's actions are sudden and unexpectedly strong, which is a nice simplified way to describe the type of motion Park animates Gojo with, and really brings an exciting feel to the action. Overall, this is definitely among Park's best works. It's still very readable in how it's presented despite its fast pace. And again, considering how much time is consumed from just directing, and then also factoring in the time storyboarding takes, the fact that he was still able to put out such a strong and animated action scene, Park totally deserves the praise. And I also have to shout out the compositing team, just beautiful work on their part, and the in-betweeners as well, quality drawings there. But with that concludes the video on why Gojo vs Miguel looked so good. And with that, also thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and also check out our sponsor Fandom Eon for some JJK merch and a million other shows. The link to the store will be in the description, and you can also use the discount code RELICS for a whopping 10% off. And of course, shout out to my amazing patrons, thank you guys. But with that, I'll see you later.